Every time we came back, I always said to myself, this is it. This is going to be the last season. This is going to be the last one. I'm done after this. And I was serious about that big time when it came to Season 3, because Season 3 killed us. We were fried. So, Season 4 happened completely by accident. When we got to Season 3, originally scheduled to be, I think, a 16-episode order, ended up being only 10, because we were fried while doing that. That burned us out. I really thought that was going to be it. The original idea was do the third season, end it there, shoot the finale, move on. That was the plan. Meanwhile, what was really going on was the fact that I had all these great ideas for the show, and I wanted to do them. But I didn't know how we were going to do that if we were already fried out.
I was a little surprised, to be honest. I didn't think we had anything left in the tank as far as ideas and episodes, but then when Andrew showed me the material that he'd written for the premiere episode and for a couple of new ideas and to add the Soda Resolution episode into the fourth season, I immediately jumped on board.
Doing Heavy Duty was fun and hard at the same time.
And I said to myself, you know what, I think this is it. I think this is going to be it, because Dan already at this point was having trouble. At least from my perspective. I can't speak for the guy, but I think at this point during the show, he was telling me at some point he'd like to leave. Mike didn't feel that way yet.
I enjoyed coming back for Season 4, but it was at that point I think I realized that this was going to have to be my last season, because it was a lot of time and effort for all of us to get together. We were trying to balance summer classes, summer jobs, and other commitments, and when we got together and when we would film, it was a lot of fun, but I think it was just the time planning and doing all the work that was time consuming.
Usually have to find somewhere else to live.
But I was the one writing all this. I was the one editing it. I was the one filming it. I mean, at least the cast members, they got to show up, do their lines, and then they got to go home. They got to go home not thinking any more about it. I was the one that was constantly in this cycle of writing, filming, editing, releasing, copying onto disc, releasing that for 42 shows.
It was fun, but Mike kept making me laugh the whole time.
In January of 2013, halfway through Season 3, halfway through the airing of it, I made the announcement, and I did this every year, but this year I was serious. I made the announcement that Heavy Duty was going to end after Season 3. I just feel that the show has come full circle. And then, I think about maybe 3 weeks later, Doug Walker, who plays the Nostalgia Critic, who of course I'm a big fan of, made the announcement that he was going to bring the Nostalgia Critic back. His famous character that he played on this show that he had done for 5 years. So I started watching his movie that he made, called To Boldly Flee. And that's when I started to think to myself, you know what? If this guy can shoot a 3.5-hour long film in 6 days, well, why can't we shoot these episodes? Because we were having because it was taking a long time to shoot just 7 episodes. Because at this point, 7 episodes in the Season 3 run was released. So we were having difficulty with that. And I remember walking on the set of Heavy Duty. I remember walking up the steps and pacing back and forth on the set at night, around 10 o'clock at night, looking at, walking back and forth and just thinking of how to do this. If we were to do Season 4, how could we do this? And I thought, if we're going to do Season 4, we would have to do one of two things. We would have to cut down the episode order for Season 3 and go from 16 to 10, And while Season 3 is airing, we write and film Season 4, but we don't tell the cast about it. And I felt that was the best way to go. Because if I had said to the cast members, okay guys, after Season 3 is done, guess what we're doing after that? They would have been, no, we don't want to hear it. So I kept it quiet. So for most of Season 3, shooting that, we were shooting Season 4. But the cast members just didn't know about it.
Filming Season 4 was a little hectic. Not as much as Seasons 2 and 3, though. I think, if I remember correctly, it was a lot more controlled, and when we came to the set, the episodes were there, the plan was there of what to do.
And we plan it out, you know, because we did a lot of Season 3 while the scripts were still in writing. I was still writing the scripts while we were shooting it. And I said, if we get the scripts done, if we figure out a working schedule and how to plan all this out, I think we could probably make a 4th season. And so, we began. Forget the heavy-duty movie. That's not going to happen because I had a choice. It was either to do the heavy-duty movie or do Season 4. And I went with Season 4. And I said, well, let's just do the funniest thing we can think of. Come on, Dan, what's going on?
Nothing. I've moved on, and maybe you should think about doing the same.
What's that supposed to mean? The main idea for writing the finale was I wanted to get everybody in the whole show back. I wanted to get all 8 of us back. Myself, Dan, Mike, Julianne, Alaina, Joe, Nick, and Andy M. Boylan. Mr. Draker's my dad. So I wanted to get all 8 of us back. I got 7 out of 8. That's good enough for me.
Pulling the ultimate prank in the finale was fun because I felt like the queen of pranks, but it's not really me, that's my sister.
It was a nice way to say goodbye to the characters. It was a nice way to say goodbye to the show that people had been watching for a couple of years, you know?
I went back to Marlton with Devin Kiesler, my friend, to help me film that last scene with Andrew, when we send off Andrew's character. And I wanted to do it in a good way. I didn't want it to be corny. It might be a little corny.
Filming wasn't easy because when you're like young like me, I've been shooting this show since I was 6.
Grandpa, you have Alzheimer's.
And when you were young, like, you didn't really understand what you were saying. They just made you say it. And it was a lot of fun, but it was hard work.
I do remember kind of thinking and looking back and saying, wow, this has been a portion of my life that I've done for this show. And, you know, though it's kind of the time and you're moving on to other things, I did realize that I was going to miss this. I was going to miss playing Toby. I was going to miss working with Andrew, Dan, Julianne, Alaina, because it was a lot of fun at the end of the day.
I didn't cry, but I was upset because I was going to miss, like, filming with everybody and having Mike and the cast over at my house. And it was fun, like, moving house to house, filming. Yeah.
It was sad. Not really. No, it was. The final day of filming, I'm gonna be honest with you here. We didn't end the show like Mary Tyler Moore. Okay, we didn't We didn't get in a circle and hug each other and cry that it was over. We were actually happy it was over, or at least I was. I was happy it was over. Because it was hell. It was hell shooting this show. It was. And we did it for 42 episodes. And I remember editing the finale on May 2nd. I finished editing it. I had part 1 in the can. I was editing part 2. I was right at the very end. And the second I clicked upload, I watched it. I watched the reaction on the internet, what people thought of it. And I went to bed that night. I got up the next morning on May 3rd, and I said, wow, that's it. That's the end of the show. And it sucked. It sucked. And I'll tell you why. It sucked because, well, number one, I was happy that the show was over. Like, this is the end of the stress. It's all over. But then it's what I've said before. I get this the same way in between every season. I came up with all these great ideas during the summer of 2014, and when September came along, and all the shows are coming back on television, all the sitcoms are coming back, all the dramas are coming back, you know, the new season of every show is starting, I'm like, wow, there's no new season of Heavy Duty. Oh God, what have I done? Because I really wanted to do another season. I really wanted to do season 5. I wanted to keep it going. And I remember saying to myself, oh, if we kept going, if we did a 5th season, we could have hit that 50th episode mark. But we couldn't because everyone was tired.
I'm going to miss doing the show because at the end of the day, it was fun. It was fun to work with your friends. It was fun to be able to play this character where, in his kind of uptight, rigid control, he would just unwind and scream his head off, let loose, yell at Dan, Andrew, Julianne even. To be able to play that kind of character was so much fun. I am going to miss doing this.
I was really excited to do the show. But, yeah. It was fun meeting the cast and, like, getting to work with them.
Favorite episode of the series? That's a tough one.
I like the dog. It was funny when Maisie ran out, because she just ran right to the cage, and we thought she was going to run in the street.
What do you want?
I just want...
Another favorite, I think, is the toilet episode. Hey, Andrew, I think there's something wrong with the toilet. Yeah, napkin setup. You know, that was fun as well.
No! Give me that! Give me that!
Those at the moment are definitely my favorites.
Favorite episode of the series? I think my favorite one would have to be all of them. If there's any episode I want to say that is the least entertaining, in my opinion, the least entertaining, it would have to be the December Delights. I only made that because I wanted to make a Christmas episode and the other guys weren't around to film it. And that scene that Mike is in when he's on AskJeeves.com, I don't even know if that website still exists, but he's on that website. That was filmed for another episode called The Stand that never made it into, I think, the 3rd or 4th season. It was one of the seasons. It was a stupid idea. It was where Andrew doesn't want to get a job. He wants to raise money. How can he raise money? He joins Alaina with her lemonade stand. It seemed like a stupid idea, and I decided not to do it. But those were Mike's scenes for that. Mike was trying to get a job online, and I said, well, let's use that clip, and we'll put it in the Christmas episode. That'll be kind of funny. And I guess it did kind of work. But December Delights, I mean, like, I don't regret December Delights. I know it could have been done a lot better. But the way I did it was because the cast members weren't there. So I had to work my way around that with archive footage of them and stuff, but I guess it kind of worked out.
was in the box! You see? That was just release of emotion. That was fun.